Hello and welcome to the My Amazon Guy podcast. Today I have two wonderful people on the podcast with us, and we are going to be talking about essentially how they got started on Amazon, their product, their brands, and everything that, anybody can really start if they have just a little bit of a thought behind their products. So without further ado,
Hi, I'm Jason, and that's my wife, Heather. We're the founders of Cologio, a name inspired by our black lab, our love for the clean, comforting scents that linger after a great groom, and our commitment to premium care that starts with quality ingredients.
I'm Jason Harmon. This is my wife, Heather. We own Cologio Pet Products. Right now, that's a Cologio shampoo. We have been in the pet industry now going on 11 years and involved with Amazon directly probably about 5 years.
Yeah.
We started with books. We did flipping. We did all kinds of stuff with Amazon. Yeah, we went a little crazy for a while. And eventually we knew we wanted to get to our own private label product when the time came. And rather than kind of investing in a lot of unknowns, we decided to invest in ourselves in an industry that we were familiar with, which is dogs and pets. So we kind of put everything and all of our experience and energy into developing dog products.
Well, and you touched on that you guys did a little bit of everything, right? Before getting into the private
We
label.
went nuts. We loved it. We had such a great time.
No, I love hearing that because when I started, a decade ago, I was the exact same way. I started with like selling trading cards on eBay, and then I got into like the whole drop shipping thing, and then white labeling, and then finally private labeling on Amazon. So it's always interesting to hear how people kind of got into the whole thing. And like everyone kind of follows a fairly similar rabbit hole of, it's very rare to find somebody who just like starts with a private label, right? Versus,
And we're glad we took the time and went through that experience. Like I said, once first we had such a great time. We love books, so that was a great place for us to start. We found some awesome stuff. And it was just a great learning experience because it is such a huge ecosystem. Amazon it's just big. So to have that experience behind us before we went and dove into private label was definitely good experience to have behind us rather than kind of building it all from zero.
I think that's a really, really big part of it, right? Is being able to, I think that's the good thing and also bad thing I will say about Amazon is that you can kind of just dip your toes in to try things, but at the same time, Amazon kind of also punishes you if you don't want to just, jump full on in, with things nowadays with like low inventory and whatnot. And so you kind of have to, once you decide I'm going to do this, you got to kind of do it and get into it.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's a true, and that goes kind of across the board with anything. I mean, if you really want any kind of great success out of anything, you've got to really get in there and do it. If it's a side hustle or something, small that you look to tinker around with, it's probably not the best place to go. eBay might be a great place to have a side hustle with. But yeah, you've got to be ready to kind of put it all in there to really get everything out of it.
I like that you put in that capacity, right? Of Amazon is not exactly like a side hustle platform because, having been, in the ecosystem for so long, I feel like that's a thing that there are a lot of people in the space that will try and make it seem like it can just be like a side hustle platform, which I feel like it, for some maybe, but for most, I feel like it is exactly that of like you can't just side hustle. You have to like put a ton of time and effort into. And
it's like anything else. It's a lot of work. And you get out of it what you put into it. It's that simple. And if it's something you put a little into, Amazon's going to eat everything up on you. By the time you pick your head up and realize what's happening with fees and everything else, it's like, well, what are you doing?
Well, it's the age-old thing, right? Cash is king, especially on Amazon. The amount of people that just don't even realize they're losing money until just because they don't know about all the fees, they don't know everything. And it's like, you got to be very
firsthand. Yeah, big time over the years. A lot of groups that we've been involved in, etc. Like, we've seen people, hey, I'm selling all of this stuff. I started it. It's a lot of work. I can't keep up with it. Yeah, totally get it. You got to be willing to get in there and do it.
Talking on that as well and just like getting in there and doing that, what I guess got you guys into this niche? What was like the idea behind it? You said that you have a love for obviously dogs and pets, but what specifically kind of brought the brand to be and to kind of be the product?
We had gotten to the point in our Amazon journey that private label was the next step. We kind of went through that progression pretty quickly. We landed into that space and we were like, okay, Helium 10, here we go. We're going to research products and we're going to figure something out. And when we really sat back and kind of looked at everything that we have currently, we've had our store going on 11 years. We've started a blog site, the dogbuzz.com, which ties into our YouTube channel, which is also the Dog Buzz. It's all in the pet industry. So we were thinking, okay, well, rather than going out and doing product research on things that we have no idea about and rolling the dice on that, why not invest in ourselves and further that experience in an area that we know, which is pets and dogs in particular with our shop.
One of our big pain points that we've had for 11 years in the grooming industry is shampoo that we like, shampoo that we feel works well without stripping the natural oils from the coat, the all natural twigs and berries shampoo that doesn't clean well, doesn't leave the coat feeling nice. So this kind of made sense, kind of was simple. Once we came up with it, we were like, oh, okay, well, duh.
I love that you kind of touch on that of a pain point, because I feel like consistently one of the things that I see work really, really well for people who start brands, especially on Amazon, is those that start like brands and like create products specifically to solve a pain point that they have, and that they create it because there isn't anybody who's really solving that, right? And it differentiates, in my opinion, the people who are just like trying to sell a product to sell a product, right? Versus those that are like creating a brand that they actually believe in because it's something that they themselves have had problems with. Those are, I think, two very large, differentiators within the space as to people who are going to be fairly successful with their brand versus those that. But was there ever like a point in which you guys were like, maybe this isn't the way we should go, or was it always just such a surefire thing in your mind?
Yeah, yep. And don't pick your head up until you get to where you're going. Yeah, that's just not the way we roll. We make up our minds to do it, and that's it. Every small step that you take is a step closer, and don't stop till you get there. It's pretty much that simple. It's obviously a little more difficult than that because, there's all kinds of roadblocks that pop up all over the place, but then that becomes the way. That becomes the direction you need to go in until you overcome that next obstacle and keep going forward. So yeah, there wasn't a point where we were just like, no, this isn't for us. It was just a matter of figuring out how. And we're still figuring it out. But it's an awesome journey.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I think everyone's still figuring it out, right? In some way, shape,
True.
Something new changes every single day that makes you have to scratch your head and be like, huh, okay.
Oh yeah. That's a daily basis, man.
So talk to me a little bit about those challenges. What has been the biggest challenge and hurdle as far as like the Amazon side is concerned?
Was just that we needed help because we have so much going on and there's so much to figure out. We got to a particular point where it was like, okay, with everything else that we have happening, it was just that decision and getting to that point where we said, okay, we need some help. In terms of handling the Amazon side, handling the strategies there and folks on board that have more experience than we do. And it was good that we went through what we did so we have a better understanding to help guide that. I would say, yeah, getting help was what got us here.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's, similar to what we were saying earlier in the sense that it's not really a part-time thing, right? Especially Amazon at the end of the day. There's so many moving pieces, so many different changes that happen. I mean, I make tons of our content, right? And I swear there isn't a single day that goes by where there isn't something new on the platform these days that I'm like, this wasn't here yesterday, right? All of, last week we had, the new advertising prompts where you can do prompt-based advertising through like Rufus. And it's like, okay, that changes how we advertise moving forward forever, right? And so I think you're right on the nose there of like, it's just a time investment more than anything. And, as, brand owners, business owners, a lot of times, and I talk to so many, right, including you guys, and it seems like that's a very consistent theme of like, you guys got a lot going on. There's a lot more you can be doing outside of having to keep up with what changes Amazon has every single day.
Yeah, and you have to make that decision on where your time is best spent. For some folks it may be okay, so I can sit back and relax for a while. Like for us, it's well, what should we be doing? And getting out there and creating brand awareness from our perspective, and creating more content, building more relationships, getting out there, and in instances like this with podcasting, etc. That becomes our job.
Developing new products.
Yeah, without that, then everything kind of screeches to a halt. So it frees us up to be able to focus on those things.
With that said, what is your, we talked about obviously like the, most annoying parts of owning brand. What's your favorite thing to do within the space as far as brand building, as far as everything you've done when it comes to Cologio?
For me, I think it's something different every day. No day is the same. The excitement of coming up with new ideas and different conversations with people, manufacturers, the fragrance houses that we work with, like even the conversations between him and I about like, oh, we should try this. I think that's the best part. And it's the sky's the limit. We can do whatever we want to do. I think that's the best part in terms of there's not too much red tape to get through with our ideas. I just have
I
to go
like
through him.
I like that, the not too much red tape. There still is some always, but
Yes.
it's the not too much.
Yeah, and it's like those ideas are always around how can we come up with products that will better serve our customers to our existing business, and then how that translates into places like Amazon, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all the platform-based shops, and how can we bring that to a broader audience? So we have a slight advantage there where we can test some things out in the shop, get people's responses to different product ideas that we have. So yeah, the creative in it is probably the most exciting thing, which I think everybody should be looking into that for themselves. I mean, yeah, the creation of anything is always the best part. The ideas that you can come up with on an individual basis. If everybody spent more time doing that, I think it would be a nicer place.
I agree with that fully, in the idea of just like being the visionary behind everything, right? The only aspect, as someone who's also been in that kind of visionary role, right, is the one of you still have to have execution at the end of the day. You can have all the ideas in the world, but without execution, they're just ideas, right? And so
That's so
I think
true.
that's always the part that a lot of people fail on, right?
That's where
And
most people fail.
yeah,
Uh,
because the execution is hard, comparatively, especially when we're looking at like anything e-commerce related, anything brand building. It's like you can have the best brand, the best idea in the world, but if you don't know how to, advertise that idea, if you don't know how to, scale up that, brand, if anything like that, if the execution fails in any way, it doesn't matter, right? And there's probably a million brands out there and products that are the best product on the market for whatever it is they do. And no one will hear about them because the person just doesn't know how to execute to get that in front of the right audience or the right people, in my opinion.
Sure, absolutely. And as far as people taking action on it, I would say you just take one step. It doesn't have to be a huge step. It doesn't have to be the perfect step. As long as you take a step toward whatever it is with that idea that you have, you're going to get somewhere if you keep moving. Um, yeah, take the first step. You'll get there.
It's funny because that's always the exact advice I tell people whenever they're asking, like, where do I start? And it's like, well, the best place to start is to just start, right?
Yeah,
There's so many things that you learn along the way that, you can't really prepare for, right? Nobody's going to be able to fully prepare you for that very first time that, I don't know, your listing gets taken down or Amazon only receives half of the inventory you sent in and the other half is, fake, right? Like
Yep.
nobody, like you can hear about these and you can hear about ways to tackle it, but nobody truly prepares you for that moment where you're like, what do I do?
But those
Until
those are
you're
good
right
problems to
there.
have. That means you're moving and you're learning. They're great problems to have because if you don't have those problems, what are you doing? It probably doesn't mean
Exactly.
you're not. You're probably not doing anything. Those are challenges, and yeah, without those, there's really no momentum with anything, and you're gonna have to expect to screw some things up along the way. You can't be afraid to fail. You just have to do that safely. Start small. Start small,
Uh,
screw up small, and then you'll screw up bigger, but just give it time.
my favorite thing is always fail fast and fail forward, right? What's on the horizon for you guys as far as goals? What are you guys kind of looking as the next advancement or the next step with the brand? Is there anything that you're kind of excited about in the future coming up, or
Oh,
you
so
know,
much. Yeah. All of these things that we've been working on, like I said, with the blog site, with the social channels, with the videos, we're looking forward to kind of taking the next step on them and really building our personal brand as well as other Cologio products that we have. Got probably 2 or 3 more products that we're hoping to get to market in the next hopefully 3 months, and then really working hard to build that brand on our end. We do a lot of volunteer stuff with different rescues in the area locally with us. We put that content out on YouTube, on the social media channels. So yeah, being able to take more time to work with them. Oh, that's Cologio, the man, the myth, the legend.
had to make his own appearance?
Yeah.
Yeah, and just really building on what we've been working on for the past 2 years, and just taking it to the next level, and really focusing on that, and instead of kind of spreading out to other things, really focusing on what we have now, and making it better.
I fully agree. I love that. I love hearing the aspect that, like, you're not fully just one focus that is like Amazon, right? And I think that's a big thing that I see more and more often is this idea of like diversification across the board when you're looking at trying to actually like build again that brand versus just like selling a product, right? And trying to, I love hearing that you're working with like places locally as well because it's a huge thing where if you can kind of get people around you to already know about. Again, the referral and the word of mouth is, I think, still in this day, probably one of the largest and like most impactful ways to just like
Absolutely.
grow. I mean, content like this, again, is, I mean, it's how even us as a company has grown. It's just fully off word of mouth referral and content for the most part. Right. And,
Right?
I think that's a really, really, I think, impactful thing for any brand owner to try and like latch onto and understand to start doing, so to speak.
Yeah, it's a little frightening to some extent, but at some point you got to say, well, what do you really have to lose? What have you got to lose?
I love it. Anything else you want to tell the people before we hop off?
Dream big and go for it, man. And buy Cologio.
By Cologio.